Borderlands is a franchise full of wild and crazy characters, and some of the most bizarre and often hilarious characters are the myriad of bosses that you encounter along the way. So these are my top 10 most hilariously bizarre bosses in Borderlands history.
It's a top 10 list. Do we really need to say we're starting with 10?
Starting us off at number 10 is Nine Toes from Borderlands 1. If you want to talk about an enemy that truly sets the tone for everything that Borderlands would become, it's gotta start with Nine Toes. From the moment you see his title card to fighting his doggo's pinky and digit, you know that this dude is crazy, and you know that the writers are a little bit crazy too for dreaming him up.
Now let's see number 9.
At number 9 is Rackman, who appeared in both Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. In Borderlands 2, there's a map called The Fridge, and you can find Rackman in his rat cave on this map. You can access his area by doing the Cold Shoulder mission for Scooter. He has several named Rack that can also appear with him, and they will be named Zap, Pow, and Bam as a throwback to the original cheesy Batman movies. He can also drop the Gunnerang as a sort of reference to Batman's Batarangs. In Borderlands 3, he appears in the back of the huge map Carnivora on Pandora. You can see his Rack symbol up in the sky to lead you to where he's at. In his cave this time, there'll be a big computer with multiple monitors looking more like the Bat Cave from the more recent movies. Rackman drops the Night Flyer in Borderlands 3, and that gun is a reference to Batman in that it cannot kill enemies. It will always stop doing damage when the enemy hits 1 HP.
Don't hate, it's number 8.
Who lives in a pineapple in the mind of Krieg, Sponge Boss Bulletpants. This wacky boss appears in the Psycho Krieg and Fantastic Fusterclug DLC in Borderlands 3. When you walk close enough to his pineapple, he walks out and he starts blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bam!
Shooting his helmet off will put him into enrage mode, where his name changes to Sponge Boss No Chance, and he gains increased damage and increased damage resistance. After this, he can level up multiple times by killing other enemies nearby. On his final evolution, he becomes Godly Sponge Boss No Chance and features nearly 4 billion HP and only receives half damage done to him, making him one of the tankiest bosses in franchise history.
Let's see number 7.
Sliding in at number 7 is Freddy the Traitor. Appearing in the first Borderlands 3 DLC, Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot, Freddy begins as an ally, or at least he acts that way, but he turns on us partway through the story. Near the end of the DLC, you actually get to exact some revenge on the traitor, but the funny thing about Freddy is how he looks just like Hacker Man from Kung Fury, and he appears to like robots more than people, maybe even likes them a bit too much. His entrance before the fight features short shorts and jiggle physics that were unexpected. But probably the funniest thing after all of that is that Freddy appears as a level 2 enemy, even if you're playing on level 72 Mayhem 11. A lot of people think that that's some sort of error or bug, but I actually think it's Gearbox making fun of just how pathetic and weak Freddy actually is.
And now for number 6.
During the Bane side quest, you get to meet McNally, who has apparently stabbed his own ears out to avoid hearing the Bane. And if you've ever used the Bane, you know why. He now constantly gushes blood from his ears, and it's such a simple but hilarious reference to just how obnoxious the Bane is when you shoot it. McNally is located in the dust on Pandora, but only upon doing the Bane side quest. He can respawn after that. There's not much really more to McNally other than that, but he was one of the first enemies that I actually cracked up about when I realized why he stabbed his ears out, and that's why he's on this list.
And here we are at number 5.
There's only one boss from Wonderlands that makes this list, and that's the Maker. Basically a giant Tiny Tina that throws exploding bunny bombs at you while occasionally rolling a massive D20 and doing some other crazy stuff. She also smack talks you a little bit, and if she rolls a 1, she'll actually nuke herself with self-damage. You have to bust her bunny bombs and then knock them back at her to do damage. This fight is such a dramatic shift from the other Hidden Chaos Chamber bosses that you can't help but laugh when you realize who you're about to fight.
Okay, here we are at number 4.
Remember in Lord of the Rings when Morbius and Spawn joined forces with Abraham Lincoln and a pack of wolves to carry a ring across Boston to defeat Santa Claus? Well, you too can reenact this classic of Middle-earthian literature by going to Claptrap's place in Borderlands 2 after beating the game on normal mode. In his fireplace, you will find a golden gear. Pick it up and your quest begins. You have to walk from Claptrap's place all the way to Iridium Blight without dying. No cars, no fast travel. Once you reach Geary up on the lava-covered mountain, he'll punch you, presumably taking the golden gear from you, and then he dives into the lava. Then a bunch of giant racks will deliver 3 red chests to you, and since this is Borderlands 2, enjoy your blue items.
Number 3.
At number 3, interplanetary ninja assassin claptrap. That's right, this bad boy from Borderlands 1 is a giant claptrap slash ninja slash assassin who also happens to be interplanetary. His job is to eliminate vault hunters by poisoning, setting traps, and spreading catty rumors about them. It broke free of its programming in an attempt to rally a claptrap robo army. This boss delivers some amazing lines, but my favorite is probably the reference to Clippy, the old Microsoft paperclip that would help you with writing papers. When Inac says, "It looks like you're writing a suicide note. Would you like some help?" Hilariously dark. Love it.
Number 2!
Coming in at number 2 is General Knox from Borderlands 1. This disillusioned character who was about to take a self-forever sleep when the Vault Hunters show up at the end of General Knox DLC is one of the funniest characters in Borderlands 1. His voice lines are similar to Handsome Jack's, but a lot darker and a lot more grizzled. He works for a 5-year-old admiral due to nepotism, claims that the planet smells like hemorrhoids wrapped in bacon, and even jokes about Steel getting impaled by a plate of calamari. Knox is very clearly the first step to creating Handsome Jack, and he's honestly the best thing about Borderlands 1 for me. Well, that and his armory.
Honorable mention.
For the honorable mention, I'm going to go with Commandant Steel in her later form, Steel Trap. The reason I find her hilariously bizarre is how the entirety of Borderlands 1, we think that we're building up to this fight with her until she gets impaled by a giant plate of calamari, just like Knox said. And then later, her Commandant Steel Trap version in the Robo Revolution DLC, she even does the claptrap unce. But my favorite is when she says 20 points if you can shoot through the hole.
And finally, here we are at number 1!
Finally, at number 1 is the most hilarious boss and arguably one of the most important bosses in all of Borderlands. No, I'm not talking about Handsome Jack. Handsome Jack is hilarious and he is a boss, but he's not bizarre if you ask me. I'm talking about Professor Nakayama. Professor Nakayama appears in both Borderlands 2 and later in Borderlands the pre-sequel. In the pre-sequel, he has you help him gather knowledge about Handsome Jack so it can store Jack's personality digitally. This becomes one of the most important plot points for the entire series, as this AI Jack is eventually installed in the mind of Reese in Tales from the Borderlands and presumed to be destroyed later. But what really makes Nakayama a hilariously bizarre boss is when you finally get to fight him, right as his health bar pops up on screen, he slips and falls down the stairs, breaking his neck and dying. Few things are more Borderlands than that moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you did, then please take a second to hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon to be notified whenever I post more videos like this. Let me know in the comment section down below what other top 10s you guys would like to see. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.